Hey everybody, Nella here. Dawn over at the Nerd Herbs on Instagram was asking recently about homegrown insect colonies and wanted to know what I kept mine in. I grow my own mealworms and dubia roaches here for my own lizards. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to make a quick video to show how I do that. This is my mealworm colony. As you can see, it is in just this stackable storage bin thing. I really don't need a lot, so I keep a very small colony. This top drawer is the worm drawer. So I have oats. This is mostly just oats in here. I always microwave them before I put them in with my mealworms to make sure there aren't any, grain mites in there, which can destroy a mealworm colony. So I've got that. If I pull some aside, you can see it's doing really well right now. We've got all different sizes of mealworms in there. Little ones, bigger ones. Even a couple of beetles that pupated out. So this is in great shape right now because it's got, big ones that I can feed off right now, but there's plenty of little ones down in there as well that are growing up. So I'm real pleased with the way this is right now. I leave the pupa in this drawer, but once they pupate out into beetles like this guy, they go into the beetle bucket, which is that right there. That guy got out and died. The beetle bucket is where I keep the adult beetles. If you keep them in with the larva and the pupa, they will eat them. I mean, the mealworms themselves, larvae probably also eat each other, but not as much as the beetles eat them. So I try to keep them separate, and then every week or two I go through and I pick the beetles and anything that's dead out of this drawer, throw the beetles in here, and then I shake this through a strainer over this drawer, and that moves out all the baby mealworms and eggs that have been laid by the adults. And that's how I keep it going. It's worked pretty well for me. I've had it going for over 6 months now, and it's doing okay. So yeah, that's my mealworm colony. And then here's my dubia roach colony. I just keep this in this Sterilite 30-quart tub. I cut out one panel of the top and glued in some fiberglass screen to have ventilation. And then inside, the dubia all live in their little egg crate that I have. I have to admit my colony is not terribly prolific, unfortunately. I actually had to go out and buy some larger dubia to feed my monitor appropriately because I fed them all off and they're not growing as fast. But I think part of that is a humidity issue. I've had some trouble getting the appropriate humidity without getting mold, and part of it is it is the winter. It's not as warm, and dubia do need to be fairly warm to be able to reproduce appropriately. Here we go. Whoop. There they are. But I only have a few lizards that need to eat them, so this does work pretty well for me. I mean, it cost me $10 to buy 2 dozen of the larger dubia nymphs. These are the ones that I purchased the other day. So all the subadult large nymphs you see were not produced in this colony. And Sleeper could easily eat those in like a week and a half. So even though I'm having some issues right now, I don't have any regrets, and there are plenty that are the appropriate size for my red-eyed croc sticks in here, even if I'm having some issues keeping Sleeper fed. I hear people in colder environments keep a heating pad on their dubia colony to help keep it warm enough for them to grow sufficiently, so I might actually try that before the winter's over, or I might just wait. But you can see my adults in here. This is one of my adult females. The wings, those are the adult males. Dawn, I'm not a huge fan of the adult dubia roaches. They kind of creep me out, honestly. I don't mind the nymphs. They're not as objectionable for some reason, but the adults are really, really creepy. So I just don't interact with them as much as possible, and keep them in my house that way. The latch top Sterilite tub is really nice for that because I know when they are in here and it's closed up, they are not getting out. The only time I've had any escapes with the Dubya is when I've left the top off or ajar for whatever reason, and they have thus, you know, made a break for it. But if you can handle Dubya feeding them off, honestly, keeping them in the house is not that bad. I feed all of my insects on a dry powder gut load that I make myself, which you can see down in the dishes down there. There's usually a lot of babies hanging out under there, sometimes in there as well. So the mealworms get this sprinkled directly in, the Dubya get this in dishes like so. Sometimes I'll have carrots in here or potatoes or something, so they have some fresh veg and moisture that way. But I've had trouble with those molding. So that's another reason I think my colony's not producing so great right now, is that I've stopped putting the fresh veg in there and I'm just spraying it down with water instead, and it's not super working great. So I'm still kind of troubleshooting that. I might go back to adding the fresh veg and maybe putting it somewhere else where it's not as likely to mold. I don't know. I'll figure something out. But yeah, this is my Dubya colony. And it was a great investment, and I'm glad that I pulled the trigger on it. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions about raising your own insects for your reptiles. I highly recommend it.